Hello and welcome to the Made Marion 2025 Festival stream. My name is Becky, I'm the lead developer. And I have a few friends here I'll introduce in a minute. We're going to do a little stream for you guys. Made Marion is a romance and action-adventure visual novel inspired by the legends of Robin Hood. You play as Marion, who goes by Lady Marion rather than Maid Marion in this game. And it is actually set in a fantasy world, so it has some supernatural elements that are not present in the original legends of Robin Hood. So we are currently in early access. Originally, when I planned the game, it was going to come all out at once, but then I got long COVID, which is making development take longer than I thought. So for the sake of our Kickstarter backers and our early fans, we are releasing every route as it is released, as it's completed. So far we have Robin Hood and Will Scarlet available. And today we are going to preview the next route that's coming out, which is Little John, who, as those of you who know Robin Hood know, is not a little man at all. So I hope you guys enjoy seeing a little preview of what's happening next. For those of you who are new to Made Marion, the story so far is that our protagonist, Lady Marion, has been basically running her father's lands for the last 5 years while her father was away at war. And she discovered that she actually really rather liked being the Lord of a Holding rather than a lady. She liked doing the more manly things like learning how to use a sword and taking care of the economics and other parts for a holding. Her dad came back and she discovered that he wasn't really down with the types of things that she'd been doing. Even though she did a good job taking care of the hold, she wasn't all that good with diplomacy and the other type of sort of more lady skills that usually ladies are expected to do. And she also found out that he had arranged a marriage for her without her knowledge before he came back. And that marriage was to a man named Lord Joffrey of Nottingham. So at the very beginning of the game, Marion gets to choose whether she's going to be more dutiful and say, okay, fine, I'll marry this guy, or whether she's going to actually run away and rebel against her father's command. Interestingly enough, if you choose to marry the Lord Joffrey, you actually end up on the traditional Marion route, where she ends up with the Outlaws of Sherwood Forest, because they kidnap her from her carriage for her own sake and tell her that, okay, Lord Joffrey, this guy that you're supposed to marry, he's a jerk, he's a bad leader, he's more concerned with law than with the well-being of the people, so much that they call him the Sheriff of Nottingham, which our Robin Hood fans will know is the biggest bad guy in the Robin Hood universe. So that's how Marion ends up with the Sherwood gang, which the love interests that you can pursue on the Sherwood route are Robin Hood, Will Scarlet, and Little John. If Marion decides to rebel against her father, she ends up in Nottingham, and she ends up in disguise spying on the sheriff to see what's going on and how she can maybe stop the corruption that's happening in Nottingham. And on that side, she can romance a character, the only non-Robin Hood love interest in the game, named Misa, who is a sage from a foreign land. Alana Dale, who is my gender swap of the Robin Hood bard Alana Dale. Guy Lalonde, who is a mysterious chevalier. Or Lord Joffrey himself, because he may have reasons for the things that he's doing. So this route, Little John that's coming out next will be our final Sherwood route, and then we're going to be switching over to the Nottingham side. But for now, today, we are going to be reading the beginning of Little John's route to you, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the game as we go along. So I have some friends here today from some of my fandom communities. We have Julie. Hello.
Oh, hi.
And we have Sophie.
Hello.
And we have Anne.
Hello.
And so Anne will be reading our narrator, which is Marion's inside voice. Sophie will be reading Marion when she actually speaks. And Julie will be reading John, and I will be taking care of some extra characters, along with probably one of our other team members named Edhie, who is not here with us quite yet. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to start by loading the game. Marion has just agreed to join the Sherwood Rebellion, so this is after sort of the common route of Sherwood Forest. So those of you who are joining us for the first time, there's going to be some stuff that we're reading that you're not going to be familiar with, but rest assured when you play the actual game, you will learn about this stuff before you get here. So today we are choosing for Marion to be partners with John in the Rebellion, so she's going to be following him and working with him on his particular project, which is looking into the royal guards in Nottingham who are supposed to be rather corrupt. So we are choosing John, and here we go.
I looked over the three men arrayed in front of me. Robin flashed me a merry smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. I had no way to know what he was actually thinking. Will's face was shuttered, almost hostile. That was no mystery. He'd made it quite plain that he didn't wish to work with me. Only one man gazed at me with an open welcome. His smile was guileless, his golden eyes clear. My choice didn't feel difficult in the least.
And here's where I say the choice doesn't feel difficult because you just smashed the John button. If you smash with the other two buttons, she's more interested in the other men. For those of you who are new, John is the gentleman on the left, Robin is in the middle, and Will Scarlet is on the right.
Marion. John, I'd like to work with you.
John, I'd be honored.
Robin moved to leave. The smile he gave me was genuine then.
You have excellent taste, milady. My cousin will take good care of you. And I forgot to say the character name, that was Robin.
Will leaned over toward me, his palms flat on the table.
Gotta say, he's pretty damn good looking.
Yes, Will is quite the pretty boy. Will, make sure to cause plenty of trouble. Keep him busy so he stays out of my business.
John, once again, brother, that is not going to happen until your business stops placing you in mortal danger.
John might be a little bit of an overbearing older brother.
Oh god, I just looked at his eyes. John.
Will, bloody nuisance.
Will grumbled. Robin gestured for his younger cousin to join him.
Robin, let's be off so these two can get to know each other. Will, gladly.
They left in opposite directions. I sat across the table from John, who looked relaxed and at ease. He was so mature, so obviously competent. I hoped to impress him with those qualities in myself.
John, do tell me about yourself, Marion. Or should it be Lady Marion?
Marion. Just Marion will do. We're to be partners after all.
The Lady Marion of several days before wouldn't have said such a thing, but that Marion hadn't been waylaid on the road to her unwanted marriage. She hadn't decided to join a band of freedom-fighting highwaymen. I found that I didn't miss her very much. I felt free.
John, and you may call me John, of course. It's the only name I have here in Avalon. But tell me, how did you wind up in a carriage headed toward Nottingham Hold?
I scowled. I had just been attempting to put that old Marion to the side. I recited my past as dispassionately as I could.
Marion, my father is Lord Glastonbury, raised to the position for advising King Henry. May the great cycle honour his soul. When the Iberians invaded, he continued in that role for King Richard and departed for the front. Marion, My mother fled into the arms of a man she barely knew, and I ran Glastonbury Holding for 5 years. I was good at it, mostly, but not good enough for my father. He tried to marry me off to Lord Joffrey without a by your leave as soon as he returned home, so you can imagine that I wasn't too torn up once I learned what the rebellion was about.
John, you ran your father's holding for 5 years? How old were you?
Marion, I was 15 when my mother left.
I searched his face for pity, but saw none. Good. I didn't want any. He leaned back, wincing slightly.
John, I was 16 when I had to grow up too soon, when I became Will's father instead of his brother.
Marion, what happened? Only if you don't mind telling me, of course.
John, I don't mind. I think you've heard that we are half-brothers. We share a father, but my mother died giving birth to me. The only mother I ever knew was my stepmother, Wren, Robin's aunt. Will was 8, and I was 16. He'd left the village to get into mischief, and I was sent to bring him home. Pirates attacked our village while we were out. I rushed back only for my father to order me to flee with Will to his Avalon relatives for safety. What else could I do? Our parents must have been killed because it's been more than 10 years, and if they were still alive, I know they would stop at nothing to come back to us.
Suddenly, my problem seemed very, very small. I reached over and squeezed John's hand.
Marion, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
John, thank you. We've healed with time, somewhat. Robin's family has been very good to us, but I miss them. I miss Sunyata.
I may have been forced to leave the only home I'd ever known, but it still stood. My father still lived, and I assumed my mother did as well. I could hardly imagine how difficult it was for Will and John to lose everything that day. We sat in silence for some time, until John smiled ruefully at me.
John, that was more intense than I expected for our first real conversation. I'm sorry.
Marion, it's alright. Now we know we have something in common. We both had to grow up far too soon.
John, indeed. And you are 20 now?
Marion, I am. You're much older than your brother. He seems about my age.
John, he's 19. I'm 27. I hope you don't mind being paired with such an old man.
He's joking, obviously.
I love it. My partner's that much older than me, so it was quite funny. Marion, old man. My best friend married a man 10 years her senior and assures me that they get on quite well. Surely we...
I stopped short, eyes widening, realizing what I'd just implied. I scrambled to turn my awkwardness into something better.
All right, and here's where we get to choose. We can just have her say, wait, I didn't mean it like that. Or she can turn it into a chance to flirt. What do you guys think?
Oh. I know what I would do if I was looking at that man.
That's a vote for flirt.
Yeah.
How about the rest of you?
I vote for flirting as well.
I mean, yeah, you flirt with them all.
Alrighty, we're gonna flirt.
If I was going to make a fool out of myself, I thought I might as well enjoy the process.
Marion, surely we can find a way to get along. Besides, you're awfully handsome. You don't look a day over 25.
John chuckled, leaning toward me.
John, is this how it feels to be on the receiving end of my cousin's attentions? No wonder he's so popular.
Aww.
such a shame. Two beautiful people working together.
Okay. He smiled jovially at me, reached out and squeezed the top of my arm. Okay. He smiled jovially at me, reached out and squeezed the top of my arm. It was casual. It was a casual, friendly gesture. Or at least, it was meant to be. The world condensed to that single point of contact. I could feel the warmth of his hand through my sleeve. A shock of connection flowed through me, a pull toward this kind, gentle man that felt like it was coming from the depths of my soul. It wasn't like the jolt of attraction I'd felt between myself and Leighton. It was a more bone-deep feeling, an elemental sense of belonging.
So here's an editorial note. Leighton is the Friar Tuck character in this game, although he is not at all like the modern cinematic version of Friar Tuck, where he's a jolly old friar. He's a rather naughty druid. At any rate, there is an option in the beginning of the game you can make out with Leighton, although he's not a love interest in the main game. And my game usually always has that option checked. So if you made out with Leighton, you get this line. If you did not make out with Leighton, you get a different one.
I love that.
John withdrew his hand, and we stared at each other for a moment. Had he felt it too? He cleared his throat and spoke sheepishly.
John. I'm sorry. I should have asked first. If I'm working with someone, I usually try to touch them casually. It helps my body learn them, so I'm less likely to hurt them accidentally with my strength. Is that all right with you?
And the other editorial note is you learn earlier in the game that John basically has super strength. He's basically Superman without the flying. And that was granted to him by his god, Amun, who gives certain bloodlines divine powers for the people who are from Sunjata, like John.
Several inappropriate responses attempted to trip off my tongue. He'd misunderstood my reaction. Not only was I fine with his touch, I wanted to feel it again, immediately.
Ooh. Marion, it's alright, yes.
He gave me an odd look, probably because my voice had warbled like a broody songbird.
John, please, Marion, if anything ever makes you uncomfortable, you can tell me.
Uncomfortable was not the word, but I wasn't about to tell him that a single touch from him to my upper arm of all places had shifted my entire world around. I stiffened and did my best to get back to normal.
Marion, don't worry. I've been told many times that a failure to speak up for myself is not one of my problems.
He leaned back, seemingly satisfied.
John. Good, then. Now tell me, besides my reported good looks and winning personality, why did you decide to work with me?
I wrenched my mind away from the sensation of John's touch to remember why I'd chosen him as my partner.
So this is our first role-playing choice. The role-playing choices choose which of the two different Chapter 4s you get. There's a separate Chapter 4 for each of these big choices. So the choice in Marion's route is whether Marion wants to be the kind of person who sort of challenges John's assumptions, or whether she has kind of tired of being in charge all the time and wants to sort of let him protect her the way he kind of wants to do. So she can answer, he's the most mature and level-headed of the Sherwood leadership, and that's why she wanted to work with him, or she wants to work with him because he'll keep her safe. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'm a strong, independent woman, so I would probably go with number one, but...
I was also leaning towards number one.
I'm going to be the different person here and say I was leaning towards number two just because I like to live out my fantasies in visual.
Okay,
I'm already living number 2, so I'm living out my fantasies by choosing number 1.
And number 2 is actually a pretty popular choice from our John fans in the fandom, but we had a two against 1, so we're going with he's the most mature and level-headed of the Sherwood leadership today.
Marion, you strike me as the most level-headed and mature person here. I suspect you won't mind working as a true partner and respecting my viewpoints.
John, of course. That is how Robin and I run the rebellion as well. He's the leader, but he always listens to what I have to say.
Marion, I suspect you have good things to say.
John, no doubt you do too. But you must remember that I am responsible for your safety. I will keep you from harm.
I scowled at him. I didn't need a keeper.
Marion, I can take care of myself.
John folded his arms over his chest. His amiable demeanor disappeared, his golden eyes boring into mine.
John, my protection is not negotiable.
Marion, we'll see about that. I'm sure we can work it out like mature adults.
He made a soft, harumphing sound, but decided to drop the topic. I suspected it wouldn't be long before it came up again. John shifted in his seat. We'd been talking for some time.
John, shall I show you some of the work I do here at the camp?
Marion, that would be lovely. I don't like sitting still for too long unless I've got a good book.
John, come then. Let's put our bodies to good use.
Oh!
I looked askance at him, but he didn't seem to notice the double meaning that might be found in his words. Why did I? What in the world was this man bringing out in me?
You guys know.
Yeah.
Confused and buzzing with an odd excitement, I stood and followed my new partner into the center of the camp.
All right, we have arrived in the official chapter 1 of John's Route, so we'll be reading the first couple scenes of that. And I'm going to take a moment to introduce our final streamer here, Edie. Say hello.
Hi, everyone.
So now we're going to start off with Marion and John going on their first adventure.
I soon learned just how much John did around the Sherwood camp.
Marion, what's this you're doing to the fishing poles?
John, I'm refitting them with reels. Look, if you turn this crank, you can bring the fish right to you.
Marion, that's ingenious.
We're pretending that the fishing reel was invented in North Africa because a lot of things were at about this time in Earth history. However, when I was doing my research, it was actually probably invented in China.
Wow, good history lesson.
I do a lot of research while writing this game, even though it's a fantasy world. I don't know, I'm insane.
John, there are so many wonderful inventions in Sunjata that we don't have here in Avalon. I like to recreate what I can.
Marion, your men just came back from hunt training and now you have to go out yourself?
John, they caught a few rabbits. We need a deer if we're to eat well for the next few days.
Marion, how did we get permission to hunt in Sherwood anyhow?
John, Leighton negotiated with the Fae, so we have our own hunt quotas separate from Nottingham. Can you hunt?
Marion, I've shot a bit of partridge, but usually that job was left to our foresters.
John, well then, shall I teach you a thing or two?
Marion, please do. Marion, you do most of the cooking too?
John, I like to cook. It feels good to feed people.
Marion, you're a very giving person.
John, thank you. My father taught me it's an important part of leadership. He gave everything to our village, our people.
Marion, as long as folk don't take too much advantage.
John, even if some do, it's worth it to care for the rest, no?
Ooh, a difference in philosophies.
I think Marion is actually saying only she's allowed to take advantage of him. I was thinking of that evening at the campfire while waiting for John to take me on our first mission. I couldn't be sure, but I thought that perhaps he blushed when I praised his giving nature. He'd seemed a bit embarrassed. Perhaps he wasn't used to being complimented for all the things he did. Did the Sherwood folk take John for granted? I decided to make certain that I didn't do so.
Marion coming to all the wrong conclusions. John has a praise kink.
Oh!
She doesn't figure that out for a little while.
This is a king positive space.
John, and what are you smiling about this morning, young lady?
John approached me with a cheeky grin. I hadn't even heard his footfall.
Something tells me he also quite enjoys the age gap, based on that language. Marion, you move quietly for such a large man.
John, I hear that a lot. Are you ready to go?
Marion, I've been trying to summon my great stag, but she hasn't answered yet. Other than that, I'm ready.
John, let's leave the valley. Maybe she can't hear you in here.
We hiked out into the main forest, and John blew his great stag whistle. His stag came bounding up to us, a magnificent giant beast.
Because, you know, if you're gonna make a fantasy world, might as well have fantasy mounts.
Yeah, that is cool.
Exactly. John, I don't believe you two have been formally introduced yet. This is Sabine.
Marion. Hello, Sabine. I've never seen a stag so large.
That's what
John.
she said.
John, she was waiting for the right rider. Weren't you, sweetheart?
Oh, can he call me sweetheart?
I'll think about that.
Oh, he was also waiting for the right rider, right? You know, Marion.
Oh.
Sabine rubbed her nose affectionately against John's shoulder. He saddled her, then mounted her in one smooth motion and ran her in a circle around me. I found myself appreciating the view, and unfortunately, John caught me watching.
John, I know we cut a dashing figure, but shouldn't you be summoning your own stag? Otherwise, you'll have to ride with us.
A dashing figure? I groaned. Will had warned me that his brother was uncommonly fond of puns.
Marion. 2 on a stag? Sounds like a bumpy ride, and not the kind I like.
Funny you should say that earlier.
I immediately regretted saying that. I was trying to show him I was a proper, mature partner. Why did he instead disconcert me and inspire me to say ridiculous things? John laughed and gave me an inscrutable look.
John, naughty girl. I'm gonna...
Same here.
Okay, alright, I'm good. I'm not good. Give me a second. Okay, I'm gonna have a sip of water and then I'm good.
Becky's really good. She just brings it out in all of us.
Yeah.
He's such a smooth criminal. He's like, oh, I'm so pure and innocent and stoic, and I'm such a big man. Oh, but you're a naughty, naughty girl, aren't you? Come look at my great. Like,
Oh my god, Edie just made that 10 times better.
Yeah, the naughty naughty girl in the French accent was just the best thing I've ever heard.
I mean, being dirty is what the French do, basically. That's our entire, like, selling point, I guess, so.
Alright, I'm good. John. Naughty girl. I'm gonna have to watch out for you, aren't I?
My eyes widened. That wasn't the reaction I'd expected him to have. I thought he'd have censured me for being too much in shadow. The question for me was whether I wanted to push his boundaries or back down.
So are we flirting back?
Yeah, flirt.
With this crowd, I'm just gonna pick those. Although I think this is the last one today.
Marion, perhaps I said it because I want you to watch me.
John and his stag stilled. He looked down at me from on high, his eyes clear and his expression thoughtful.
John. Yes, you should want that. There are many young men in our camp who are not gentlemen. I will make sure nobody mistakes your intentions.
I scowled. That wasn't what I'd meant, and he knew it.
Marion, I'm not planning on flirting with the young men about camp.
I grumbled at him, deflating. John merely chuckled. He'd won this round.
John. Go on then. Summon your stag.
I
Ooh,
blew
I
my
love that one.
whistle.
Oops, sorry.
How dare you interrupt my acting? I blew my whistle, and to my relief, Kroga bounded out of the woods, honking merrily at me.
Marion, there's my girl. John, this is Kroga.
I threw my arms around her neck and stroked her, inhaling her woody scent.
John. She's beautiful. And I love the bond between you.
Marion, thank you.
I saddled Kroga and hopped upon her back. It was a lovely summer morning, and our stags were soon trotting alongside each other at a leisurely pace, allowing for John and I to talk.
Marion, so where are we going today?
John. We've had a call for help from a tenant farming family outside Nottingham. The guard have been harassing them for taxes they don't owe. Now they've threatened the farm itself.
Marion, how awful. And appeals to Lord Joffrey aren't working?
John. They can't get past the hold gate guards, who also demand bribes.
Marion, what a mess. So we're going to protect the farm?
John. Yes, we're meeting my squad there. It's a simple enough mission, but it could get nasty.
I shook my head sadly.
Marion, I hate bullies.
John. It sounds like you have some personal experience.
Marion, the lords of the holdings surrounding Glastonbury tried to take advantage when my father was sent to war. They'd pay bandits to attack outlying areas of our holding, and then claim the land if I couldn't properly defend against the attacks.
John. That's rotten.
Marion, of course they'd claim they were merely ensuring the safety of the people, since I wasn't a strong enough liege to protect them, prevaricating rotters.
John. What does prevaricating mean?
Yeah, same.
I flushed in embarrassment. Normally, I balked at being told my vocabulary was too prodigious for a lady, but I'd been flaunting in front of a man who wasn't born to the language.
Marion, I'm so sorry. I'll use simpler language. Whoa!
How dare she insult our boy like that?
Yeah!
John raised a brow at me. When he spoke, his tone was mild, but just a touch censorious.
John, I didn't ask you to use simpler language. I asked you what prevaricating means.
Oh, I'd been thinking of myself rather than him, hadn't I? I silently cursed my lack of social polish.
Marion, it means evading the truth. Not necessarily lying, but not being fully honest either.
John chuckled.
John, now, you see, that is a useful word for me to learn, since I work for the Prince of Prevaricating.
Marion. Robin?
John, never fear. He was honest with you when he spoke to you about the situation in Nottingham, I'm certain. Robin lies out of kindness, or to protect himself.
Marion. And you? How much lying do you do?
John, I prefer the truth most days, even if it's uncomfortable. That is why we make a good team. He knows the pretty lies he needs to influence others. I tell him when he goes too far.
Marion. I'm not a very good liar myself, although I had to learn deception to survive the last 5 years. I tend to speak too quickly and blurt out my true feelings.
John turned his head and smiled at me. I felt that if we hadn't been riding our stags, he might have squeezed my shoulder or patted my head. Why did I wish he would do that?
John, I noticed that, and I think it's just fine. You can always tell me what you're thinking, Marion. Now we should make haste. I am enjoying our talk, but we should reach the farm before the guard does.
The farm we were protecting was on the southern edge of the human-controlled territory around Nottingham, so it wasn't a long ride. We arrived in the early afternoon to see a sizable group of rebels forming a bucket brigade, pouring water from the river over several structures. We dismissed our stags, and Rowan came trotting over to us.
Roan. Hi, John. The farmer said the bad guards threatened to burn the farm down, so we're making that hard to do.
John ruffled the little changeling's hair.
John, that's a very good idea, Roan. Can I get you to help prepare the little surprise?
Roan. Of course.
They ran off, and I smiled at their boundless energy.
As a side note, Roan is actually a Kickstarter backer created character, created, amusingly enough, by my mother. She made them non-binary just for me, and that made me very happy.
Aww.
We love Mama Becky.
Marion. Roan's in your squad,
John, yes, I found them being chased by hunters and hounds soon after they came into our world. They didn't know the rules yet, and had stolen some dinner from a knight's kitchen. They've been with us ever since.
Marion. It must be difficult to be a changeling. We humans have so many rules, and yet we break them all the time.
John, isn't that why your pact with the Fae is enforced by death?
Marion. Yes, and enforced by the Fae, who cannot break an oath to which they are bound unless it is broken by the other side first. Ah, are those the farmers?
A young couple approached us, the man looking haggard and the woman wringing her hands.
Woman. Sir John, thank you ever so kindly for sending your lads to our aid.
John. I'm no knight, mistress. Please just call me John, or Master John if you must. Now, how exactly is the guard threatening you?
Man, as you know, aren't many of us free folk farming near Nottingham. Makes us easy targets for the likes of them. Can't squeeze a serf for coin, eh? Woman, we pay our taxes to Sir Paul and he pays them to Lord Joffrey. But these guards come along and say we owe them more. Told them we've no coin to spare, so they said we had to pay up by today or they'd burn the place down.
I was horrified. I'd never seen such an abuse of liegedom.
John, we will do everything we can to keep your farm safe. Will you wait inside? If you smell any smoke, run out the back door.
Man, aye, we will. Thank you, Master John. Mistress.
I could have corrected him, but I was amused that the couple had mistaken John for nobility, yet had not considered me. I tried to curtsy to him, but my hands failed to grab any skirt. Right. I dipped my knees and my head in an awkward approximation of a bow.
I will hide the dialogue box to note that Marion is indeed wearing trousers. It's quite scandalous. She likes them.
It's almost like she's showing her ankles!
I was gonna say, her hips are so fucking amazing, it would be a crime to hide them from the world.
Yep.
That's why we have the handy H button, which in Ren'Py hides the dialogue box.
The couple went to hide in their home. John and I followed them, stopping a short distance outside their front door. I thought about the threats from the guard the entire time.
Marion. Those guards are unforgivable. How do they get away with such a thing? Does not Lord Joffrey forbid it?
John, we're not rebelling on a lark, Marion. Now you see what I mean when I say the guard is corrupt.
Marion. When they come, may I give them a piece of my mind?
John chuckled and plopped a hand on my shoulder, squeezing gently. Again, I felt that odd, almost physical pull toward him. I nearly forgot what I just asked.
John, I would like you simply to observe this mission, if you please. I need to concentrate on ensuring no harm comes to these fine folk or their farm. Shall we find you a hiding place that will allow you to watch us?
I was annoyed that I wouldn't be allowed to participate in the mission, but I understood that John didn't want to divide his attention. My shoulders slumped, but I acquiesced.
Marion. Alright, as long as I'm not hiding away for every mission.
John nodded, but made no promises. I scowled, but he had already turned away from me and shouted for his squad, who gathered around him.
John, you've set up the stations?
Rebel. Aye, just say the word.
John, I hope they do fulfill their promise to return today. If not, we...
He was interrupted by a dove that flew directly toward him, landing on his outstretched arm.
John, aha, and this is our signal.
The dove cooed and proceeded to peck John's sleeve many times.
John, they are coming, about 10 of them. Torches?
The dove bobbed its head.
John, thank you.
John spoke and released the bird, which flew to the roof of the farmhouse. I watched it, confused.
Wasn't her hair up before?
Yeah, her hair was up before.
Her hair was up before, and you guys just found a little bug that I will fix. This is this is pre-beta footage.
Marion. No dove is that smart.
John. Oh, nobody told you? That's Leighton. He can possess the minds of doves. Or other birds, I've been told. But he has the strongest bond with doves.
If I hadn't already known Leighton practiced the forbidden arts, that would have told me. No pact druid could perform such powerful magic. John turned to his squad.
John. Men, get in position. Roan, I would like you to guard Marion. Can you do that for me?
Roan, of course.
John. Good. I believe you two can watch from that covered wagon there.
He pointed to a nearby wagon, which was, indeed, a good hiding place that would allow us to peer out over the farm. Rowan grabbed my hand and pulled me toward the wagon.
John. Keep your hands to yourself, Roan. Or at least, ask the lady first.
The changeling snickered, but let go.
Oh, John. No fun.
I'm sorry, I laughed during that.
That's okay, it's not a problem.
How dare you express merriment? We climbed in the wagon together, and Rowan kept a respectful distance from me while we positioned ourselves to watch through the small gap between the wagon and the tarp that covered it. I looked over the fields in front of me. John's men were hiding behind hay bales that were scattered along the path to the farmhouse. They had buckets filled with something I couldn't identify. Why are the bad guys hot too?
Because our lead artist is incapable of drawing anyone who is not hot.
I mean, I guess
that's had a curse.
Yeah, that's a curse I would want. Okay. After some time, a group of 10 guards appeared on the road, marching in formation toward the farm. Leading them were 2 large, intimidating men. The bearded, blonde man had an air of sly intelligence, while the powerfully built, darker-haired man oozed angry menace. The guards held their torches aloft in a threatening manner. As they turned the corner onto the farm, John's men popped up from behind the hay bales, using slings to propel a barrage of strange, globular objects at the guards. The objects broke open when they found their targets, splashing water everywhere. Several of the torches were extinguished immediately. Rowan giggled next to me. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the sounds and then the glob sounds.
Yeah.
The blonde leader called for the group to halt, but he was too late. A second barrage extinguished the rest of the torches, and John's men scattered, running for the trees at the edge of the farmland.
Marion, what were those things they threw?
Splashers. John invented them. He soaks deer stomachs and intestines in some kind of liquid that makes them weaker. Then you can fill them with water, and they break if you throw them hard enough.
Yes, John invented water balloons.
John invented a great many things.
That's great. Marion, that's ingenious.
John says Robin thought so too, but the sheriff didn't like it when he got hit by one.
If you played through the other routes, you know that Robin and Joffrey, the sheriff of Nottingham, have known each other since they were kids, and they didn't have the best of relationship back then either.
That time I giggled. We quieted when the guards marched up to the farmhouse where John stood, a single figure guarding the entrance. He held his staff in front of him forbiddingly. The blonde guard captain halted the procession and marched several steps in front of them, halting just out of staff range.
Hard blonde captain. Pardon me if I'm mistaken, but aren't you the Sunjati giant who helps lead the rebellion?
John. That is me. Aren't you the rumored guard captain who cheats innocent peasants?
I held my hand over my mouth so I didn't laugh or cheer. This was a different John than I'd met thus far. His demeanor was calm, but he exuded an aura of boundless strength and protection. It was quite appealing. The guard captain did not seem to find John quite so appealing. His hand went to the pommel of his greatsword.
Lawrence. That's Sir Lawrence to you, foreigner. Now kindly step aside. We have official business with the occupants of this farm.
John, you do not. You will turn around and leave this place, and you will not return.
Lawrence. Well then, I suppose it's time for us to arrest a rebel instead.
The guard captain unsheathed his gigantic sword. His second, who had stood silently just behind him, brandished a halberd. The other guards removed swords from scabbards. They stood, poised to attack, waiting for Sir Lawrence's signal.
So he's not only hot, but he also has a giant sword.
I know, I thought that too, but I was like, I know I have to get through the line.
I realized that as you read the line. I didn't notice when I wrote it.
John, I would think twice about that if I were you.
John's squad reappeared around the field, bows pointed at the guards. Sir Lawrence scowled.
Lawrence. Alright. Let's settle this like gentlemen, then. You and I will fight to a yield.
John, I agree. It is a good solution for all of us.
John remained where he was, standing proudly, his quarterstaff at the ready. Sir Lawrence took an experimental swing at him, which was soundly blocked by the staff.
Prince Winwood, I see.
John said nothing. They began circling each other. The rest of the guards fanned out, hands off their weapons in order not to be shot by John's men, giving them room. Sir Lawrence made a few more advances against John, who simply deflected them. I frowned. John would need to go on the offensive sooner or later. But I was soon distracted by Sir Lawrence's second. He had snuck near the wagon in which we were hiding, his pole arm at the ready. He was sheltered from the archers and looked like he was planning to ambush John in the middle of the fight. I didn't hesitate to act. John may have wanted me to stay out of the action, but I wasn't about to ignore a clear danger to my partner.
All right, are we going to reveal the ambusher and then run out of danger, trying to follow John's instructions as well as we can? Or are we just going to attack the mofo?
I mean, I would attack the mofo. Yeah. and then John needs to say "good girl" afterward.
Oh.
Yes, please. No, I'm pretty sure he'll say "bad girl."
Yeah.
I know. Okay.
Look, I'll take either one. I'll take either one.
I'm actually going to choose this one since we have split decisions, because this is actually a more complete scene. Because if you choose this one, you get a shorter scene and then a different scene after the preview we have. So we're going to reveal him and then run out of danger.
I glanced over at Roan, who was watching the ambusher with wide eyes. I explained my very simple plan to them using hand gestures. They nodded. I mouthed the word "go," and Roan pulled up the wagon's cover. I hooked my shield sideways at the guard with all my strength. It slammed into his back, and he made a loud, pained sound. Roan and I ran out of the back of the wagon, heading behind the farmhouse to hide. I hoped that my actions had been enough to reveal the ambusher to John. As I was about to round the corner behind the farmhouse, I glanced over my shoulder toward the battle. That was a mistake. Someone grabbed my upper arm, holding it in a vice grip. I tried to scream, but he pulled me against him and his hand clamped over my mouth.
Captor, keep quiet, Lady Marion. We've been searching for you, you know. There's a nice reward in it for me if I bring you back to his lordship.
The shock of that threat caused me to go limp, which allowed the man to tighten his hold on me. I didn't notice that Rowan had stopped running and turned toward us until I heard them yell at the top of their lungs.
Rowan. John!
Captor. Oh, poor choice, little one. It looks like we're doing this the hard way.
My captor hauled me around the corner of the house. Rowan ran at us, brandishing a dagger, but stopped short when a dagger appeared in my captor's hand as well.
Rowan, let her go!
John, I suggest you listen to my friend, Morris.
John intercepted us, looking none the worse for wear. My captor, Sir Morris, apparently, swore at the sight of him. I couldn't help but smile.
Morris, I'm not here to pick a fight with you. Unlike my friends, I know better than to start one I can't win. Shall we all keep our peace and have a little conference with my fellows?
He let me go, unexpectedly shoving me in John's direction. I made a decidedly undignified squawking sound as my body was propelled forward, but I landed in a soft place. My head rested against John's chest, his arms drew around me. My heart skipped a beat.
John, fine, we can talk, but you will not harm the people here in any way.
I just want to point out that Marion fell into John's pillowy man bosom.
I also want to just say, oh my god, like the size difference is so clear here. That's just, good shit. Oh wait, I probably can't swear.
No, you totally can. There are cuss words in the game, just not as many in John's route.
I peered out at my former captor, who was spreading out his hands in a gesture of innocence.
Morris, I'm just a messenger, my friend.
John, you're an opportunist, and I'm not your friend.
These two already know each other a little bit, if you couldn't tell.
Just a bit.
John, Roan, thank you for your bravery. Could you return my men, please?
Return
sorry.
my men! Give them back!
So, also, like, why is Morris also attractive? I mean, come on. He's
so
like
hot.
staring at me right
He's
now.
ridiculously hot.
Okay. John, Roan, thank you for your bravery. Could you return to my men, please? You two, come.
John unfolded his arms from around me. I felt slightly bereft. He took one of my hands and walked me back toward the front of the farmhouse. He spoke softly, for my ears alone.
John, thank you for the warning. Did you really throw your shield into his back?
Marion, I didn't have time to think of a better plan.
John, you did just what you should have. We couldn't have anticipated that so-called messenger.
My heart warmed at his praise. How long had it been since someone had praised me for making a less than ladylike choice? We approached the front of the farmhouse to a scene of apparent carnage. Both Sir Lawrence and his second were kneeling on the ground, their fellow guards tending to them. They appeared to be in great pain. John must have gone on the offensive when Rowan yelled his name. Sir Lawrence raised his head, glaring at John.
Lawrence, how could any man be so strong? You're a monster.
All 10 guards glared accusingly at John, muttering curses. I looked up at him. He grimaced, and I thought I saw a hint of guilt on his face. Bile rose in my throat. I stepped forward, my years as a leader taking over.
Alright, are we gonna defend John? Yep.
Defend John!
Defend that man!
I knew
Yeah,
everyone was
defend
gonna pick that.
Yes.
Marion, tell me, Sir Lawrence, who is the monster here? The man bilking peasants of their hard-earned coin, or the man who is defending them? This man is no monster. He has a divine gift from the Sunjati god, but you are no more than a greedy bounder.
Sir Lawrence narrowed his eyes, studying me, a smirk appearing on his face.
I would like everyone to know that Marion says bounda exactly the same way as an Australian does, because that was perfect.
Lawrence. I see your portrait is painted true, Lady Marion. Alright, John, I have a new proposal. Turn Lord Joffrey's bride over to me, and we'll leave these folks be.
Rot and ruin. Had I made an error in stepping forward? No, John had already dragged me in front of this man.
Marion, you are hardly in a position to be making demands, sir.
John, Lady Marion made the choice to join the rebellion. Can you blame her? Look at what you're doing.
Lawrence, I have my reasons, just as you have yours for getting in my way.
Morris, if I may intervene...
The guard who claimed he was simply a messenger stepped out of the farmhouse's shadow. Sir Lawrence glared at him. Sir Morris no longer appeared as cocky as he had when he'd grabbed me. He looked almost deferential in the face of the larger men.
Lawrence, what are you doing here, Morris?
Morris. Hello, Lawrence. Charles. I see you've run into a spot of trouble. Fortunately for you, I can solve this conundrum. I have a message from the falconer. He's recalling all his birds to the roost.
Oh my gosh, it looked like they morphed from one into the other. Two hot men, Inception!
I had to switch characters because they're too big.
The large, angry-looking guard looked
Whoops.
even angrier.
Charles, we're not done here yet. Morris, he made it quite clear that it's an urgent matter. Honestly, what paltry lucre could you gain from these pathetic peasants anyhow?
John stepped forward, breaking into the conversation.
John, so you lot have a leader. Would he be interested in having a word with the rebellion?
Sir Morris just laughed.
Morris, oh, I doubt it. Still, I don't think he cares to tangle with you as long as you leave well enough alone. I think we'll all be rewarded when we give him this new little tidbit of information, won't we? The knowledge of what happened to Lord Joffrey's intended?
Lawrence smiled at that.
Lawrence, you're right. We'll leave these folks alone for you, Rebellion. But you might find that your interference here came at a price.
John, we'll keep Lady Marion safe and find a way to stop you as well.
A hero! The large man named Charles chuckled.
Charles, I look forward to seeing you try.
With that, the troop of guards retreated back toward the city, supporting their two injured leaders. We watched them until they disappeared from sight. John turned to me.
John, I think you might be my lucky charm, Marion. We have our next step in our investigation of the guard.
Marion. And what is that?
John, we find this falconer of theirs, and we put him out of business.
Boom! This is the end of John's Route preview. Thank you all for joining us in our little recording. We also hope you'll take a look at the festivals that we're taking part of here in Steam this late winter, early spring. And take a look at Made Marion. As I mentioned, we are in early access, and John will be the third of 6 routes that we put out. So feel free to wishlist it if you want to wait until we have more content out, or just read if you're excited to start. Right, have an excellent day, and thank you so much to my co-streamers. You guys were a lot of fun.